I got a box, and I'm really excited to show you what's in this, because oddly enough, within the last week, I have come into ownership of not one, not two, but three of what's in this box, and one of them has something to do with you guys. So, without further ado, give you a little unboxing here, and as a hint to what this is, we have shown products from this individual slash business before on the channel, and you all have responded really well to prior items that we showcased, so I have high expectations and hopes that this will do the same. A lot of packing. Nice packing. That's the cats. Alright, first order of business is this very important item, which is bolts. Gotta have bolts. And this should tell you everything you need to know about what we're about to read together. There you go. So, as a spoiler alert, what I got here is a brand new valve cover. And the reason that I got a brand new valve cover is twofold. We'll put this here for a second, because the important thing is below. The most important thing that I need to do right now on my car is a valve adjustment. And I'll put this post here on the screen. This came across my desk recently. It was a post someone had made in the 8th Gen forum, and it showed a lot of valve damage, and that is, while it is an extreme case, that is something that you risk when not adjusting your valves, because as the valves seat into the head, the clearance will automatically change, and not to mention that heat cycling will also change clearance, so it's just a good idea to do your valves. I think, if I remember right, the Honda recommended mileage is like 50, I could be wrong. I know on Perry's Honda Fit, it's like every 30. It's crazy, because some of the motors just fall out of alignment easier. I don't know why. But so I was like, if I'm doing the valve adjustment, I might as well do a valve cover too, because my valve cover is like super gross. It's peeling. It's the OEM silver color, and I'm pretty sure it has a slight leak at the back too. So there's just like a lot of reasons that I want to do this. Outside of it just being general maintenance that I should do. Now, I was going to showcase a valve cover that I bought from Facebook, and I knew going into it that it was a little bit risky. One of the main ways that people go about recoloring a valve cover is powder coating. The other option obviously being high temp spray paint. Both have their pros and cons, and in this video I'll actually probably be advocating more for spray paint, and you'll already be thinking, why, Sam? I'll tell you why. So my Integra has a yellow valve cover, and all I did was high temp, we used paint stripper, stripped the paint off of it, scuffed it with Scotch-Brite, sprayed it with high temp yellow, high temp clear, it was done. Has it chipped? Yes. Who cares? It's a track car. I just wanted some color on the valve cover, and it's held up the test of time just fine. The car has been on track for almost a season and a half with that valve cover, and the paint's on it where I put it on it. So it was easy, it was fast, we did it in an afternoon. It's also a really fun project if you're big into DIY with your car, which if you're on this channel you probably are. So it's a great way to just, if you're looking for a little project to do on a weekend, it's a fun one to do with your friends. That being said, powder coat usually looks better. So powder coating is obviously a completely different process. Usually they will, instead of stripping the valve cover, they will actually just sandblast it. And there's a lot of other ways to go about this. People are going to talk about, I think nitrous or dry ice is one of them. There's another one that uses some kind of, I forget what it's called, but it's like a spray similar to dry ice. But the most common one by far is sandblasting. So basically it's quite literally sand that they will shoot through a high PSI applicator and blast off whatever paint's remaining on the valve cover. It's efficient, it's cheap, the sand is reusable. The downside is that our valve covers have baffles in them. And this is mostly to retain oil up in the valve train when oil gets thrown up there from the oil pan, so that it all doesn't just fall back down. It also means that when you're taking hard turns, it keeps some of the oil up in the valve train so that you're not just starving one side of the motor. It's really important, and it's not something that you ever really think about because it's just the top of the valve cover. You can't even see it. Now the downside is that these are non-serviceable, meaning that they are riveted into the valve cover, and I'll show you. Here is my other valve cover that I bought, and it's powder coated black. It looks great. I got it used, so there's a few imperfections here and there where I'm guessing it just got sat on a shelf and got dinged up a little bit. But here is, if I don't drop it, the baffle. So the baffle is this plate right here, and you can see all these rivets that run around through the baffle that's secured to the valve cover. Behind that are passages for oil that oil can sit in. The issue with sandblasting is that when you sandblast the entire thing, sand obviously gets behind the baffle, and then you can't get it out. And a lot of people have blown up motors doing this. A lot of people have less healthy motors than they should because of ignoring this. Is it a little overkill? Yeah, but it also fully depends on how much medium got behind the baffle, and you'll never know. So it's a risk that I'm not willing to take. And just running my finger in the spots that I can get it in, I don't know if you can see that, but there's still medium behind it. So regardless, if there's anything behind it, it's not good if it's not oil, right? So I'm going to service. I'm going to drill out the rivets, take the baffle off, clean the baffle, clean behind the baffle, show you how to remove the baffle and make it serviceable as a DIY item, and then also compare it to the new valve cover that I've purchased, which already has this service completed, thanks to Charlie, and why you should probably just buy from him to begin with, because it's going to be cheaper, he does it better than I can, and his valve covers come powder coated already. So that being said, this right here, this wrinkle black powder coated valve cover, I'm going to service. It's going to get a OEM fill cap on it, and we are going to do a giveaway with this one once it's serviced, so that one of you, if you have a K-Series or just want, I guess, a really cool wall ornament, I know people make them to like key hangers with the spark plugs, but if you would like to win this, we will be doing a giveaway, and it's going to be really simple. I'm going to be giving it to, we'll be celebrating 10,000 followers on Instagram. So if you would like a chance to win, when we announce it, it's probably going to come up pretty soon after this video gets uploaded. But all you have to do is be following us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, and you're going to have to tag people. It's the same bullshit everyone else does. Tag people in the comments. And the caveat being that my Patreon members will get extra entries. So if you would like to be qualified for extra entries, go ahead and go visit the Patreon. And that's for probably any tier. Unless we have top tier, I have to look, then they will be getting probably a few extra entries. But yeah, so I'm extremely grateful for all our new members, all our new followers, and I was like, well, we should do something to say thank you. So this will be getting serviced. I will be doing a DIY video separately on how I service this, but you'll get a good idea looking at the valve cover that I bought as to what goes into it. So let's get started. No trash. First reason you should probably go with Charlie is that he's going to offer you a core refund if you send back a valve cover. So if you have one and you're getting one from him, unless you need two, mail back your old one, and then he uses the cord to service it, powder coat it, do the baffle install, and sell it again. I paid, let me think here, I think I paid $225 for this, pre-serviced. A junkyard valve cover that you want to do this DIY on will probably cost you about 40-50 bucks around me, and you'll probably spend another 100, 150 in supplies. Plus, you'll need all the tools that I'll show in the video. So, in terms of cost benefit, I don't think you can beat Charlie's price on this. Not to mention that the amount of labor that he's putting into this, and the fact that you don't have to buy special tools. It comes ready to go. Other than the bits you need to install these screws, which I believe are Torx head. Yes, they're Torx head, and we'll talk about what has to happen with those. But here is the baffle, and along with what I mentioned prior, he also coats these with a zinc coating, which makes them, I don't really know the benefits other than I think it reduces the chance of any kind of like anodization or rust or whatever else. But yeah, so they're coated, and if for nothing else, they look nice. They're nice and they're a cool color. I don't know if it really comes through in camera, but they're kind of rainbowy, kind of like oil slick. But so you're gonna get your baffle, you're going to get your screws, and then let's look at the valve cover. I should also mention that if you want bungs welded onto your valve cover, he also offers that service. All right, here we go. Here is the new valve cover. And a couple differences that you'll probably notice already is that he CNCs the seating areas on all of the bolt holes. And while that, again, may seem like overkill, it's just a nice thing to have. It basically guarantees that all the mounting locations are going to seal nice and tight. It means they're all going to be nice and level. And it's just one less thing to go wrong when you're an hour into taking your valve cover off and run into an issue. Here is the baffle area, and you'll get to see what it looks like behind. So you can see all those passages and crevices, and I can only imagine how much medium could build up behind here. So we'll see when I do the video. We'll take it off and we'll look. While this is almost entirely a beneficial mod to do to your valve cover, you do run risk, and that risk is predominantly with these bolts. If you don't do this right, you risk dropping a bolt into your valve train, which could mean really just totaling your motor, destroying it, because that's enough metal that if that goes, I mean, it's going to destroy something in the valve train, and if it makes it into the cylinder walls, then you're cooked. But, so do it with caution. It's kind of another one of the reasons that I was like, if I'm spending the money anyway to do a project, I might as well get it from someone who knows what he's doing, and who's going to save me a lot of time in the long run, in terms of all I have to do when I get it is install the baffle. And that will, again, probably become obvious once you see how much work this valve cover is going to be for me to do by myself. But yeah, so that's what the video is going to be. We're going to be doing the valve adjustment with my buddy Nick, who's a Honda Master Tech, and he'll be talking about what goes into that. And then I'll be showing you exactly how to install Charlie's baffle with his provided instructions. And I hope this is an informative and interesting video for you. Okay, voiceover time, because I'm incapable of talking about this and simultaneously doing the baffle install. You're going to need a Torx bit for the install process for the bolts that Charlie provides. He's going to recommend about 5 foot-pounds of torque on the bolts. And in full honesty, I can't remember exactly the bit size, but I'm sure it won't be hard to figure out for you. I would really highly recommend using a torque wrench. I don't own one, it's on the list, I know, go ahead, flame me, but do as I say, not as I do. So get a torque wrench, put it at 5 foot-pounds. If you really don't have one like me, you could always, the 5 foot-pounds is basically like hand tight plus a little. If you really don't want to strip any of these threads out, that would be an absolute nightmare, so tread on the side of caution. I'm using blue Loctite to ensure they don't back out. You could always use red, but the whole idea here is that you want them to be serviceable, so red's going to make that a little bit more difficult in the future, just bear that in mind. But you can use red if you're really worried. I'm using blue, setting them to the suggested approximate torque, and we ran into a small issue here where 3 of the bolts on one side would torque all the way down, and then there was still a little bit of a gap between the baffle and the valve cover. It would kind of like pop when you would push on it. Probably not detrimental to it, but enough for concern. The proper way to fix this would be to go back and drill the hole out a little bit deeper and tap it a little further. Honestly, it might not even need to be drilled more, maybe just tapped a little further. There are always imperfections in these valve covers from factory, so this isn't Charlie's fault. He had great customer service to talk me through it. But despite that, we were on a bit of a time crunch with Nick's schedule and my schedule, and trying to get this video done. So we had to kind of improvise. Tapping it down was something that was going to be very tedious. And so we kind of decided on a bit of a gamble and went with the solution of shortening 3 of the bolts just a hair, just to get them to seat the valve gasket in there correctly. So the next footage is that. Bolt shortening activities. What are the intake and exhaust specs?
The intake is 0.009, exhaust is 0.011 mils.
Fairly surprising to me, because I definitely thought that it would be, like, if I were to do it like myself with no muscle memory, I would assume that what that clearance would feel like would be looser.
Yeah, and you would have been fine a little bit looser. Like, as long as you have some drag on this, it's good. Like, if you can feel the feeler gauge in there, you'll be all right. You just don't want them tight.
As in, like, the gauge won't even make it in, kind of. Like, well, yeah. I guess what they were.
Like, yours were a little tight. It wouldn't have been detrimental, but...
Have you seen cars come in for service that are, like, insane?
So we'll get them, like... We don't see it a ton, but we'll get cars that come in for misfires, and they don't misfire right away. But if you let them sit overnight and get cold, they'll misfire on cold start, and then as it warms up, it'll go away. That's like a key indicator that the valves, it's like the valve adjustment that's causing it.
Okay.
We do them on, like, it happens to fits more than anything.
Yeah, my buddy was saying that their interval is like 30K or something.
It's something like that.
That's crazy.
I don't know what it is. But yeah, we see them on fits more than anything, really.
And it's just because of the temperature change makes them expand and contract?
Yeah. This is the annoying part. You just gotta feel it.
Oh, so you leave the gauge in there and then put the... just tighten it down on it?
Yep. So I'm loosening it so that I can get the gauge in, and then once the gauge is in, I'm wiggling it and tightening, and I'm finding that point where it won't move anymore, and then you go like a hair back off of it, tighten it, see how it feels. Good. And we move on to the next one, and then we'll run back through them once we get through, just to make sure they all feel good. Some of them are a bitch to like.
Yeah, on the backside especially, I assume.
And if the feeler gauge is like angled at all, it changes the feel, you know? With that shit. I'm like, yo.
OEM gasket.
Tube seals.
I hate that we're at a point now with like economy cars that an OEM Honda gasket is a flex.
For real.
It's pathetic.
I mean, people would rather pay $12 for a Felpro and just call it a day.
Yeah, and have it leak in 15,000.
Exactly.
Felpro used to be the shit. I don't know what happened.
Decent.
Everyone on forums swears by them from like 2005. No moss.
Get a little oil out of here.
I was like, why does this look crazy? I had my micro influencer sunglasses on. I can't even afford to get drunk here, bro. Beer's like $36 for a glass.
Yep. My old bassist went to Disney. He came back and he's like, dude, what the fuck?
Could have had another car. Parking there is like $80 for a day.
I believe it. That shit is insane.
And what's the strat there? You just running around the inside line?
Yeah, I'm just kind of like sticking my finger in there and making sure it flips over the tube seal or the spark plug tube. The new ones always like are super tight on them. That's why I like lubed it a little bit. But once it's over there, it's fine. Like you can see this one, how it's sitting. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, how it's like sitting over the seal on this edge, or over the tube on this edge. You can see.
Yeah, you can't see the shiny of the tube coming up.
I don't know if that helps you or not, but like you can see it's not fully lined up. So I'm just sticking my finger in there, making sure it goes over.
It looks so much better.
It's clean, super clean.
I initially, I had asked him to do the like the hammered texture because I really wanted that, but he was like, he had these in stock right away. He shipped it immediately, so I was like, ah.
That's the way it's clean, man. It's super clean.
Everything else in the car is black anyway. I was like, why not? Oh yeah, let's see the new bling.
Shit.
Damn, them icy as hell.
Let me see your grill.
I'm gonna order another set of these from Honda and put them on a chain. Damn, he wearing the OEMs. That's
Get
crazy.
a whole nother valve cover kit just for it.
Figure out how to make a belt out of the gasket. Babe, do you fuck with my fit?
And then we gotta put these crusty nuts on there.
It's just a little reminder of the car's past is all.
Yeah. Been through some times.
Yeah.
Adds
character. Damn. I'm gonna edit that part out. Which I bought a new fill cap and I got the wrong one. I got one for a B series. I was like, God damn it. The thread's the same. It's the shape of the top.
Yep.
All right. There's the old. We need this though. Can't lose that. There's the old. There's the new. Wow. All this just to burn oil. That's crazy. I hate those. They go on. Why do they get so tight?
It's ridiculous. A 14 mil wrench fits perfectly on this, by the way. I can open it 14.
That's the
tips and tricks.
Introductory info that I need locked in.
Tips and tricks. 14 mil wrench is perfect. I don't know if I might have one in here.
14 mil wrench on the oil filter or the oil fill cap.
Yeah, look at this. Look how perfect this is.
Oh my God. I hope Joe's watching this video. He needs that. He needs that so bad.
14 mil, so when it's too... That's clean, dog.
It looks good.
them valve them. That's clean. I'll fuck with that. You get that silver coil pack cover like you were showing me? Yeah.
That'll tie it up, I think. And nothing went wrong.
Man.
Man.
Who would have thought? Well, let's see if it starts, but...
Yeah, I was gonna say,